So in the last video, we talked about test levels, and we outlined the four test levels, right? That any system will be subjected to, right, before it can be pushed to production. So in this video, we're going to discuss test types. Test types, right? How many types of tests do we have? Right? We have many types of tests, right? But they are grouped into two main types, which is functional testing and non-functional testing. Functional testing, non-functional testing. Right. So under functional testing, of course, we are testing the functions. We're testing the functions of the system. That's pretty self-explanatory. Functional testing. We're testing that the system is functioning, right? But under non-functional testing, we're testing other things, right? So we've established that the system is functioning, but of course, the system should function in certain ways, right? Certain behaviors that the system should exhibit, right? And that's where non-functional testing comes into play, right? So under functional testing, of course, we have the unit testing, which we spoke about in the last video, integration testing, system testing, and acceptance testing. Right. So under unit testing, we have, of course, white box testing, gorilla testing. Right. Um, Under integration testing, we have gray box testing. Right. Gray box testing, you have all the information about, of course, the system. You have partial information about the system under gray box testing. So you're just working with the information you have and working out your tests from there. Under system testing, of course, we have end-to-end testing, black box testing, smoke testing, sanity testing, happy path testing, money testing. No. So that's under system testing. We spoke about end-to-end testing in the last video. Right? Black box testing, you can test the system from a blind point of view. Right? You don't know from not knowing, assuming you don't know anything about the system, just pick up the system and test it, right? That's black box testing, having no prior knowledge of the workings of the system. That's black box testing, right? There's also smoke testing, sanity testing. Sanity testing is to ensure that, of course, the system is even ready to be tested. That's when sanity testing comes into play. You check basic checks to ensure that the system is ready to be tested, right? And there are all other sorts of testing under system testing there. Then there's acceptance testing, right? Acceptance testing we spoke about in the last video, but acceptance testing has a few types of tests also. It has, right, alpha testing, beta testing, OAT, right? Alpha testing, right, is when it tests with in-house, test in-house, right? Test in-house the app to ensure the app is ready for the consumers, ready for the users. Beta testing, you test with a small subset of users. That's where beta testing comes into play. You test your systems with a small subset of real users, right? And there's also OAT testing. So now let's go into non-functional testing. Right? Under non-functional testing, you have security testing, right? So remember, non-functional testing, we're not trying to determine if the system is working again. Trying to determine if the system is performing to some certain level or certain expectation. During non-functional testing, we've already determined that the system is working. We're just trying to determine other characteristics of the system. That's what happens during non-functional testing. So you have security testing, where you test the security of the system, right? Of course, you can use penetration testing, which, of course, under penetration testing, you also have white box, black box, and gray box techniques there. There's performance testing, where you test the performance of the system, how the system performs when it's under load, right? Various loads of users, right? load testing, stress testing, soak testing, volume testing, endurance testing, scalability testing. All these are types of performance testing, right? You test the system, how the system is going to perform, and there's a large volume of users, right? Test how the system is going to perform during certain periods, peak periods, off-peak periods, that is performance testing. There's also usability testing. Usability testing, right? Usability testing tests how usable is this system, right? How usable is this system, right? Under usability testing, you have, of course, exploratory testing, explore the system. Cross-browser testing, test if the system works in multiple browsers across multiple devices. Accessibility also, test accessibility, right? How can disabled users or partially disabled users interact with your system, and still get the best out of it? Accessibility testing. For example, people who have hearing deficiencies, how can they interact with your system? People who have vision deficiencies, how can they interact with the system? That's user accessibility testing, right? So there's also compatibility testing. Compatibility testing tests if the system is compatible with a wide variety of platforms, or variety of platforms, right? Test if your system is compatible. How does it behave on different platforms, right? So that's compatibility testing. So that's all for software testing types, right? And I will see you in the next video.